Hello, everyone. Alex here for your live stream introductions. So, I wanted to say good morning, good afternoon from wherever you are watching. I have Erin and Linda in the studio in Kansas, and Erin is going to talk about a fractured jacket that she made for Santa Fe. So, some of our team just got back from Santa Fe. And if you were one of our attendees, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a delightful event. We will do a full Santa Fe recap sometime down the line. We are still waiting for our jackets to come back from the shipment. And we have new techniques that were introduced in this event. So we'll probably bring on Kathy and she'll talk about some of her new jackets and perhaps Samantha. And so it was so fun. So thank you again to everyone who came. We will be launching Santa Fe 2026 dates soon. So save the date keep that in mind for when the date is that we launch that. So we will be having a full on kind of launch day for when you can sign up for Santa Fe soon. So before we get to that, I wanted to announce that we have one spot open for our London trip in April. So, this is our textile immersive event in England. So, we go to not only London, but we go to different areas within the Cotswolds. So, this starts April 28th. This is 2025. So, yes, it is February. April is coming up soon. We had a cancellation. So, we do have one spot left. And so if you really have this burning desire to go to London and you can make it happen, there is one spot open for this event. It starts April 28th, which is it's a Monday, and then it goes until Wednesday, May 7th. So it's a full-on event where we are doing a painting workshop with Sarah Campbell for 3 days up in the Cotswolds. We're doing some day trips and excursions, and then we're coming back down to London for adventures in London. So you can check out the full itinerary and full schedule on our website at sewingworkshop.com. You can also email me directly, alex at sewingworkshop.com. You can also email Betsy at sewingworkshop.com if you have specific questions. But we do have an opening for this event that's coming up very soon. So if you've been to any of our London trips in the past, these are also very delightful, so fun. It's a great group of women with us this year, and so we're excited to host yet again another fabulous event. So email us if you are interested and you want to sign up or you just want more information. We also have an opening for our event in Canada. So we're going all over the world this year. Niagara on the Lake is a very wonderful city in about 2.5 hours north of Cleveland. My mom and I went a couple years ago to a painting workshop and loved this little town. And so Niagara on the Lake is also in 2025. This is September. And so this event starts on a Sunday, September 7th, and goes through a Thursday, September 11th. In this workshop, we are actually making the Hong Kong vest and doing different things around Niagara on the Lake, going on a wine trolley. It's a wonderful district for wine, and has a great downtown area for restaurants, generally shopping, a lot of historic monuments as well, and right on Lake Ontario. So it's a beautiful place, a beautiful venue, a beautiful area. So if you're interested in Canada, you can also email me or check out the itinerary on the website and get more information. Or if you're interested in signing up, let us know. All right. For So Confident members, you guys have a Zoom Q&A on Thursday. So don't forget, you can join us on Thursday for your Sicily blouse show and tell. That is at 4 p.m. Central Time. So we'll see you Thursday if you are So Confident monthly, yearly, or season 1 member. Check your course page for details. All right. Hi, Erin. Hi, Linda.
Hi there.
Hello. Well, we're here today. Oh, Linda's going to start us
No,
off
I'm
with
going
something
to-
special. I was ready to dive in.
I know you were.
know.
Well, you can in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So Alex, Betsy, and Erin Have you guys ever worn pins?
I have. I had a collection of pins actually that I used to collect from different vintage spots or that I collected from my grandmother.
Okay, well, you're going to dig them out again
Okay.
because in my day, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, we wore pins and we generally wore them up here or on a lapel, something like that. Oh, no, that's not where you wear them anymore. So brooches and pins are back.
Okay.
And and the bigger and gaudier, the better. So I have one that I collected, which is a hand, pretty good size. I put it on a coat because I thought it was too big but not now. And then I have this one from my mother, which is pretty gaudy, and I have no recollection of her ever wearing it, but I'm sure she did. So now the whole collection of vintage brooches has exploded. So your collection will be right in.
All right.
So if you don't own any brooches or pins from days gone by, you might have to go buy one, but it doesn't have to be an expensive thing. It can be very inexpensive, but you wear them in weird places. Like you could put it on your hip.
Oh, okay.
You could substitute or put it near or on a belt.
Oh, I like that idea. I love
belts. Yeah, I do too. So, or if you have something fluffy and beaded or whatever, you could actually put it on your shoulder and let it do its thing.
Like if you had like something wrapped around, like a shawl or a scarf or something?
Yep,
okay.
Exactly. So I'm just telling you that these are back. And I had to dig a little bit to find mine because it's been a long time since I've worn any of these. But I do have a nice collection, probably like yours. So if some of you are in that frame of mind, dig your brooches out.
Well, so since we're talking about the San Diego today, where would you put a brooch on the San Diego?
Well, that's interesting. I might put it in this area where it's stitched, maybe low.
Right here?
Yeah. Something like that. You could probably close the neckline and put it way high, which that looks good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
During the Super Bowl, the performer wore a brooch on his hat.
Yeah.
Wear a hat and put a brooch on it.
That's a great idea. Yeah. In fact, that's a fabulous idea. I bought a hat recently to paint in to cover my neck. This is en plein air, which I barely do, but I'm going to be doing some this summer. So I specifically wanted a hat that covered my neck, covered my face. I'm going to put that hand on that. That'll be cool.
When you could add a scarf to the hat and then, and then add the brooch.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. All right. So now you can start.
So today we're talking about the San Diego. So the San Diego pattern has been around for a long time.
A long time. Third iteration, I think.
Right. Because we started out, we had a San Diego jacket. And that was out for years. It was one of the most popular patterns that we've ever produced. And then it was out of print. And then we started playing with it again. I think it was for a class that we were doing in Puyallup, I believe.
Or San Diego.
Or in...
Actually, it was. But go ahead.
And so we, just like a lot of the patterns that we have, we do like to play with them. We like to change them, add something here, delete something there. And so we were playing with it, and we created a tunic. That was the second,
which is what you have on
version. And so we created the tunic, and then we also just so it had a kind of a ease of wearability, we also made it a top as well. So the same tunic, you could also use the same details and make a top. So that was the second version. And then the third version, we created a jacket that later became the Charlie Bomber.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the San Diego has been through a lot. We've changed it a lot throughout the years. And so it's just a really fun pattern to play with. The base of it is just great design. You can identify it by this detail right here.
the dropped shoulder seam that dies into a point and then sews the collar all the way around. That is its distinguishing common feature. So no matter what we've done with it, we've always kept that.
Right. Right. So when we were talking about going to Santa Fe last week, and Kathy and Linda and Samantha are talking about all these amazing jackets, I wanted to create something that I could actually, finish.
Right.
My time is a little limited at home. And then I also wanted something for winter that was really cozy and warm. But I wanted it to be a little jazzier than a typical sweatshirt with just like a crew neck or something like that. So I decided I wanted to work with the San Diego because I hadn't worked with the San Diego in a long time, and it's one of my favorites. And so I decided to make a fractured sweatshirt. And to simplify it even more, I decided to do the fracturing just on the sleeve. So give a little detail here. I'm going to bring her up a little closer. So what I decided to do was work with a brushed fleece, which is so soft, incredibly soft, really, really warm to wear. And I love the idea of using both sides. It's really smooth on the right side, and then it's really soft on the fleece side, the underside, the wrong side. And so I decided to work with both sides, not only on the sleeve, but also on the front and on the back. Since you do have a right front and a left front, I use the right side of the fleece here on the right side, and then on the left side, I used the wrong side.
Let's see if they could pick that up a little closer, maybe.
I think you can.
So this is the fleecy side, and this is the smooth side. A little tonal difference, definitely a different texture.
Right, I feel like it's a little darker on the fleece side, and on the right side, it's a little lighter. And I did the same on the back.
Now you can see it.
So here's the fleece, wrong side, and here's the right side. So I did create a back seam, so I could show that off. And then on the sleeve is where I did a lot of the detail. I used the right side of the fleece for the base layer of the sleeve. And then I decided to add another layer of the fleece, the wrong side, and add a little stitching to it. I created some really interesting shapes, actually some really simple shapes, but I feel like with the stitching, it made it a little bit more interesting. And I created a grid-like pattern on that piece and stitched through both of the layers and added a cuff.
Now it looks like you added a band, but that's just top stitching, correct?
Right, so the San Diego top does have a really deep hem. So I wanted to keep that detail because I really like that. And I did decide to shorten the overall length of the garment by 4 inches. And the reason I did that is I thought the sleeves, they have a lot of volume. And so I thought it was really overwhelming if the garment was longer at the actual length of the pattern. So I decided to make it more of a cropped sweatshirt. And by cropped, I mean it hits at like my high hip. So not cropped. So
right. Yeah, so when you did this stitching, so you've got 2 layers of fabric.
I do.
It's not like this is sewn a seam right here. This is layered.
It's layered. It's 2 layers of the fleece. The base of the sleeve is showing the right side of the fleece, and then the additional layer on top is the wrong side.
Yeah.
The fluffier side.
Yeah. Well, how did you figure out how to do these shapes?
Well, I can show you the pattern pieces.
We're back to old-fashioned.
No.
Our famous board.
I know. I couldn't show this to you without getting the board out. So the San Diego top does come in a short sleeve. So since I wanted to make it longer, I had to lengthen the base sleeve. So I decided I took a sweatshirt actually that I already had and used that as my length, which I think is a really good idea, especially because on that type of sleeve, it has a little bit more fullness down at the wrist, which is what I wanted. So I was able to use that as my guide on how long I wanted the sleeve to be. And since it also included a cuff, it was a really good estimate on how long I wanted that sleeve to be based on that. So I did lengthen the sleeve, and I just followed, and actually if you could hand me that pattern, I just followed the side seams of the sleeve. And then I just created a nice curve down to the seam allowance. And I stopped the seam allowance, or this is the seam and this is the seam allowance. That was at the fold line of the original, sleeve. I mean, this is your seam allowance, not a fold line is what I mean, because you are going to attach the cuff to it. So there's no hem fold line. And let me show you all my pieces. Which do you want? I'll take the right sleeves. So my right and my left sleeves are different. So I decided on the right sleeve, I wanted to create 2 pieces for my layer. Tack it up here for you. Okay, so since I was working with a knit, I knew I could use my raw edges. So I didn't have to worry about seam allowances or turning anything under. I could just leave all of these pieces raw. So I cut out, I created this curved shape here and another curved shape here. All raw edge with the fleece. And I also have a raw edge here on both of the pieces.
So did you add a seam allowance to this one so you could overlap it?
No, I didn't actually. I just butted it up here.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, because it's on another layer.
So I didn't have to worry about, covering anything up necessarily because I had my base sleeve.
Right.
And then I had my additional pieces on top. So all raw edges everywhere. And then I stitched it close to that raw edge to attach it to the base sleeve. And then this is where I started creating all of my gridded stitching lines to add detail to the sleeve. I did it vertically, I did it horizontally, and I did it with white thread, so it would just pop just a little bit, but it wouldn't be too much of a contrast.
So your grid is actually more of a rectangle.
Well, you're right. Let's see.
Like maybe 2 inches by 4 inches or 3 inches or something like that.
I know I started doing the stitching and I started, I think it was the vertical direction. And then I was going to start the horizontal direction. And my husband actually said, I don't think you should do it in squares. I think you should do it in rectangles. So I did vary the distance apart when I did the other direction.
Okay.
So
you, after these were applied and this was butted and these are stitched down, then you just treated these 2 pieces as one.
Right.
In your stitching.
So I stitched through both of the layers.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really cool. I would never have thought, I don't believe, of the curves and the overlapping. And yeah, I like it a lot. And then rectangles. Yeah, it's good.
Kind of offsets the curves.
Did you think about how much did you measure your sweatshirt that you like, the width of the sleeve down here, or did you just go with it?
I did measure it and realized the one I had was a little tighter than I wanted it to be. Okay. So I did increase it a little bit. I did take into consideration when I was doing my cuff the size of my wrist, and then I did add a couple inches for ease.
Okay.
So
I wondered about that. And then this just eased onto the cuff.
It did. I did actually.
And it looks like about the perfect proportion, actually, to me. Not too big and not too small.
Yeah, the cuff itself is 1 3/4, and then you double it because it is a 2-layer cuff.
Yeah. Did you sew it on and then serge it, or did you just serge it on?
I sewed it on and I didn't serge it.
Aha. Why serge it?
Right.
Okay.
It's pretty thick. The fleece is pretty thick, so you do have to take that in consideration. And so I just didn't want any more bulk on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
And I didn't put this top layer into my seam allowance because again, I thought it would be way too bulky. So I did stop it
Mhm.
at the seam, like right just above the seam of
Yeah.
the cuff. I don't know if you can see that. She's in my way.
Whoa.
So let me show you the other sleeve. And granted, you know, one's the left, one's the right. So you really do flip it, but just for ease of showing you how this works, I did create another shape on the left sleeve, and I did just do one layer, or I didn't have the two pieces that butted up against each other, mainly because I was just playing and this is my first attempt to see what it looked like. I was stitching it onto the base sleeve, and then I realized for the second one, I wanted to play just a little bit more, step it up a bit, and so I added the second piece to make it a little bit more interesting. So, but same curve. It's very similar curve. And you could use a hip curve if you wanted to use a hip curve, but there's really no exact curve to this at all. I just started drawing.
I have a question, Erin.
Mhm.
So this is such a creative idea. Did you see anything for inspiration? Did you just kind of make this up based on you mentioned just wanting something simple and kind of easy and something you could get done before Santa Fe, but were you inspired by any looks or general inspirations?
I have seen quite a few sweatshirts, and I own a couple that I really like that only have sleeve detail. Like I have an eyelet sweatshirt that's cut out, so that part is open, and I really like that. And I do tend to like things that are more simple with just a little touch of detail. And so I thought this was the perfect combination to try the fracturing, but not have it be all over the garment. So I've seen things from like Anthropologie to Free People to we saw quite a few things actually in Santa Fe that had that level of added detail just in simple places. Sleeve, you could do just simple fracturing on one part of your garment or just in the back. So you don't actually have to do, the fracturing technique all over if that's not either what you have time for or either what your, preference is. So
I came home from Santa Fe with just loads of inspiration, not only from our class, but from the stores. And I came home with a cold. So excuse me. Sally and I
think.
shared Kleenex.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So you used a raw edge here. Did you use
Mhm.
raw edges for the seams generally?
I did. I didn't serge any of my seams. Like I said, it was pretty bulky, so I didn't want that added layer of bulk, and I wanted to be able to trim my seam allowances. I did trim them at different widths at certain places because it is pretty thick.
I noticed you did press the seam open in the back and double and stitch on each side, which is a nice detail.
I did. I thought about overlapping them, but I wanted I wanted to see this top stitching on either side of the seam. I like that kind of detail, so that I decided to do that instead.
So no interfacing, no special materials, no buttons, obviously. It's actually a pretty darn easy garment to make.
Right.
And even this seems real doable to me. Not just, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this done? I mean, some of the fractured jackets that people did were quite elaborate, which is great. And they had a week to do it, and everybody was pretty much on track. But, not all of us have that kind of time or will to do it. So I think this is a garment that you can make. We have another gray one that's kind of one of these sweater type knits. I don't know if you can see this or not, but when I made this, I was dead set on matching the diagonals, which can be done. So if you have something that has a pattern or a motif or something, there's a little trick to finding where that match is, but it can be done. So.
Yeah, there are fold lines on the pattern, so you could match up your fold lines. So you could find.
Yeah, is this the way,
angle.
which is the way the pattern is? Is the pattern longer in the back, shorter in the front, or is it the same length? I can't remember.
I believe it's longer in the back. I think this is correct.
Okay.
My shortening was definitely an end result. I didn't actually do it to my pattern because I decided once I put it together, before I did my hem, I decided how full the sleeves were. Yeah. I needed to cut it off. So
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made the San Diego in everything from silk charmeuse to
we do have a tunic. That's that one's beautiful.
A linen print as more of a dress. It's I don't know of any fabric that doesn't work, to tell you the truth.
I think we've used it all.
Pretty much. The one that I have on, we dug out of the vault yesterday. This is a San Diego. I don't remember, I know I made it, but I don't actually remember making it. It's so long ago. But, you know, we talked about that famous seam that dives there and then goes around the neck. Well, that has it. So obviously I put something on the center front and just cut it up and then let the fabric drape and whatever. But this is a simple t-shirt.
I know, that's fantastic.
I know, it really is. Why have I been leaving it in the vault all these years? Dug it out and I'm going to wear it.
And it's kind of a gauzy, right, wool knit.
Yeah, this is a wool knit, which we don't see much anymore. So you can tell that this is old, but yeah. So are there any questions?
Someone was asking what you were wearing, Linda. So it is a San Diego, just a variation without that front detail.
Yeah, the collar, when you only do a single layer, turns into more of a little cowl.
And how are you guys styling your San Diego? What pants and
well, we both have on jeans today. I have
straight leg jeans on and boots.
I have straight leg jeans and sneakers. And I'm wearing an undershirt, so to speak, because I thought this might be scratchy. It's actually not. And I could have gotten away with it, but I was afraid to try. Plus it's not warm, not cold, whatever here, but cool enough that I wanted another layer. So.
In Santa Fe, I wore my sweatshirt with the trio pants.
Yeah.
With some black trio pants, and I thought that looked really nice. I think the proportions worked out well.
I think because you can adjust this length and do things with the angles of this of the hem and the bottom, you can wear it with a skirt, like the Metro skirt or something like that, or the E-skirt, or you can wear it with the fuller trio pants, which are coming next month to everyone. So Confident always gets things first, but it'll be coming along to the rest of our audience.
I think the tunic, you can also wear it with a slimmer lay. You could wear the helix or the pencil pants. The great thing is that there's, you have the tunic, you have the top, you have the jacket. So I think there's different things you can wear with each one. I think with the cropped, what I did with the cropped sweatshirt, I think it looks nice with that fuller pant, or you could do like the West End. But with the tunic, I do like a slimmer leg.
Yeah, I toyed with the idea today of wearing a black San Diego jacket over this. So you're layering the same pattern. And the advantage of doing that is that you have a sleeve that will fit into the sleeve of the overpiece. You have necklines that work together. So I do that quite a bit, make the same pattern as a top, as a jacket, wear them together, and you don't know they're the same pattern.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Erin, can we see your sweatshirt again?
Sure. Let me pull it back so you can see the sleeves a little bit. It's a little tricky.
I love this stitching line. This is not open. This is a seam under here, so this is just a pleat. And then you have the top stitching here that looks like a nice yoke. And it's just simply holding the collar facing down, but it makes a nice detail anyway. The collar can be worn so many ways. It can be splayed pretty wide, especially if you fold down the back part. It can be overlapped a little higher. It can be kind of asymmetric. One side maybe smaller, the other side larger. And of course, it can be made as more of a funnel neck.
My favorite way to wear it is actually when it kind of
Yeah,
drapes
that's the way it
down,
tends to want to do.
except for maybe that one apparently.
Yeah, on its
There you go.
own. Yeah, I like that too. So I would let the fabric speak to you on this. On the silkier, drapier fabrics, it tends to want to do this. But with a fleece or a French terry or something like that, which has some structure, then you can kind of place it where you want it. You did a good job on this, Erin.
Oh,
I like
you.
I might have to make one of these. I love it.
Hopefully that wasn't shock in her voice.
Well, I don't see any more questions about the project, so we can show
Okay.
fabrics.
All right, well, let's talk about fabric. We've got kind of a couple of concepts going here. We have fabrics that can be used as on their own, that have texture on the top and a different texture on the bottom, much like what Erin did with this one. We have other things that maybe read the same on both sides, so we've added another fabric, maybe a little bit contrasting or tonal, that you could do your patches. You could really contrast these patches if you wanted to. It could be a pattern. You brought that up yesterday. We don't have any patterned knits on the wall, but that would be cool to see a couple of different patches of color and motif. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start on this side.
Okay.
So this is a French terry, organic Tencel French terry. So it's 78 organic cotton and 22% Tencel. And so this one washes beautifully, and it really fluffs up on that wrong side when you wash it. So I think that the contrast on the sleeve would be really fantastic. Hopefully you can see that it's just a touch darker on the wrong side, and the pile will increase once you wash it. So I think that will be a really fun contrast, but subtle. Well, I love this peach.
Yeah,
coral.
I don't know what color that is. Sometimes it's peachy, sometimes it's pinky. What do we call it?
Coral.
Coral. Yeah. Okay.
And then one below it, this is also the brushed fleece like I used. And so you could use the wrong side. This is actually the wrong side, the fleece side. And here's the smooth right side.
This is the fleece that we've been talking about that we're so in love with this year. We've never seen this because when you first look at it, you think it's velvet.
It's that soft.
Yeah. And so we're kind of running with this for a while. Kathy made a fractured jacket out of it for Santa Fe with raw edges on the outside. It was just wonderful. I think she wore it on the plane even or something.
Right.
But it was just a great little piece to throw over something else, wear under a coat, whatever. I think she used probably the Now or the Zen. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Actually.
I don't know.
Well, you will soon find out.
Yeah, we'll have her on and she'll bring
another
us on. Yeah. This is another French terry.
Right. The Tencel French terry. This is sangria. And so again, you could use the wrong side for the sleeve detail.
In this case, it's lighter than darker.
It is.
Like the other one.
Picks up
and the
sheen.
texture is a little more pronounced for some reason. Maybe it makes me think it's a different company. Because no, it's not same company. Well, okay.
Just interesting what happens with different dyes.
But like this is an example of being able to do a tonal thing. You could make the San Diego out of this and do the sleeve detail in this and have dark thread or light thread, whatever. But I can kind of see this color of thread on this.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And the one below it, this is a rib, mulberry. This is polyester, rayon, and spandex. And these are some of our newer ribs that we've gotten in the last couple of months.
Yeah, and they have a little wider rib than the originals that we've been selling for a couple of years. These are really nice.
And we actually have two different versions. We have one that's a narrow rib and then one that's a wider rib. And so, but these are a little bit lighter weight than the fleeces and the French terries that we've been talking about. But I think when you're doubling up that layer on the sleeve, you know, you don't need it to be
Well, and if you think
heavy.
about, this is all double, pretty much the front. So you have the weight. This is a fabric that does not grow, washes well. People are crazy about this. Lois Haskins had on, I believe, an ensemble in Santa Fe in this fabric that was pants and a top.
Oh, that was beautiful.
A vest, I think it was.
She does tonal very well.
Yeah, she does that very well. Navy blue, of course. But this fabric is perfect for that. So would you use this as the sweatshirt or the patches?
I think I'd use it as a sweatshirt because then if you do the stitching on a more flat surface, then I think you would see it better. It would stand out more.
So somebody who lives in a different climate could wear this maybe that's not quite as heavy as some of these ultra French terries and fleeces.
Right. And the French terries are a little bit lighter than the fleece.
Yeah.
So if you did have a warmer climate, you might want to go with the French terry and put these two together. And that would be a lighter garment than the fleece.
Right.
So just below it, this is another French terry, Tencel French terry.
To get this kind of drape out of French terry is pretty amazing.
And to still have that nice pile on the wrong side. I think that's beautiful. Let me see the color. Lavender. Organic cotton Tencel. And then you could pair it with this fleece. This is again the brushed fleece and a kind of grape boysenberry. You could put these two together, or again you could just have a tonal garment and just use the French terry on its own or the fleece on its own.
Right.
So over to the blue-green section.
The blue-greens. So this is a French terry, very much like this. So we have the two sides. This is the same fleece. Now we're only showing like 3 or 4 fleeces here, but I believe we have more colors.
We do.
Yeah.
So this
and
is
of course, this is the telltale sign that this is the right side, because when you pull it on the cross grain, it's rolling to the right side. Some people might, and I don't know that there is a right or wrong.
True.
You could make the whole garment out of the fluffy side.
Right.
But technically, this is the right side, the smooth side.
Right.
Yeah. Now this is a,
I
know, I was just thinking that. This is merino wool jersey. Very difficult to get these days. It is not the kind of wool jersey that shrinks like the whole Jean Cassacedo genre. So whenever it's merino wool, it's beautiful. In fact, it's prettier than regular wool jersey because it has a little more of a smooth, not shiny, but refined surface to it. But it does not shrink. So haven't seen any of that for a while, unfortunately.
But you could pair this thinner, knit with some of the more.
See, I even think it'd be cool on this blue.
I think, it works basically, I think, for this entire side.
Exactly.
I think that's really nice. And then you would have a little bit lighter weight sleeve.
Or you could do what I've done, make it into more of a t-shirt.
Perfect.
Funnel neck, and use this as a finished t-shirt. Nothing more beautiful. Now this is what she was talking about with the rib. This is the widest rib that we have, and I know you can't see it, but it's about 3/8 of an inch between the ribs.
Right.
And that's more like
an
eighth or a quarter or something like that. Yeah. And this is a viscose jersey, I'm pretty sure. Rayon from bamboo. And then another one of the ribs the 3/4 inch ribs in the dark forest green.
So you could easily pair this lighter jersey
Yeah.
with the rib.
Right.
And put this, I would put this one on top.
Yeah.
The lighter weight one on top. And so you could see the stitching on this jersey.
I agree. Okay. We also have white on sale, I believe,
Oh, okay.
which we're not showing, but you can, Alex can explain this, but you can always go to our website, and front and center is what's on sale this week for the live stream. So you can scroll through and see that.
Yeah, and for more details about the fabric, on our website, we do as best we can, giving you as much information as we know about the fabric. So everything from the fiber content, percentages, to the widths. So you guys didn't announce the widths. We did have a request to please announce the widths.
Yeah, they vary a little bit.
Is there
And
a
you need to pay attention to that. I don't know why we're getting more and more and more. Well, I do know why. We're getting more and more 54-inch wide goods.
True. Which we
than we're
have,
used to.
yeah, tried to change our pattern instructions as well because of that. So we
Right.
have layouts instead of everything being a 60 layout, it starts at 54.
But it's a cost savings for the manufacturers. They make it narrow, but they don't reduce the price. And with the tariffs, we're seeing, we're going to see more and more price increases for fabrics.
Is there a specific fabric that anyone wants to know the width on?
Not specifically, just generally the fabrics on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like starting here with the coral, this is 53 actually. And then these the French terries, and then the brushed fleeces are wider at 60. So all the brushed fleeces will be at 60. The rib is 50 wide.
50?
Which
Wow.
is interesting because that doesn't look as narrow as the
I know.
53. But is that one? Is that what that one
50.
says? 50. Okay. Okay. And then the jersey knit, I'm guessing that one is wide. It's
60.
About at 60. Yeah. And the wool jersey also, or the wool
60.
merino wool looks wider as well.
Yeah.
60.
I can usually get a garment using a 60-inch wide yardage out of 54, but boy, I wouldn't trust that for a second.
No, because when I started playing around with that, I realized it does make a difference. So
particularly on larger sizes.
Right, if you're on kind of the larger end of a size range, you know, so it does make a difference.
Yeah.
So can't always count on it.
Okay, I don't see any more questions about fabric. I can show the sale.
Okay.
All right, so like Linda said, we always front and center on our website homepage, we have the sale icon. So you guys can click on that, and this very, very debonair photo of you, Erin, with your Santa Fe tunic from a photo shoot probably years ago at this point. So the San Diego is a pattern we re-released last fall, and it is a pattern that has all three versions of the San Diego, the top, tunic, and jacket in the pattern. So you can grab the San Diego pattern on sale. It is a digital PDF pattern. We can print it for you in-house. So when you go into the product, you can select add the pattern printing, and for an additional charge, we'll charge you for the printing of that pattern. Otherwise, there are all the files for printing at home. You can tape it together, but this is a PDF pattern. So aside from the pattern, we have all of the fabrics that Linda and Erin mentioned. And within the products, of course, you can click on the specific details of each fabric. They're hard to see on the wall from the distance that Linda and Erin were describing. So, you know, especially the ribs and the jerseys versus the French terries that are tencel and the brushed fleeces. So you can take a look at the specific kind of textures and images within our fabrics. So you can shop all of the fabrics and the San Diego pattern on sale this week at sewingworkshop.com. That is the sale category. And so check that out. And otherwise, happy shopping. And it's a great project, Erin. I think you had it right when you say that it's you and I have talked about making a fractured sweatshirt, and you did it. So great job.
Thank you. All right. No
Okay,
other
that it?
questions?
Is that it, Alex?
Okay.
No more questions.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening to us again, watching us, and we will